Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shoshana Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the weather tops the news tonight and what a difference a few hours can make. Earlier today, Grand Bahama was in a frenzy as several water spouts developed along the shoreline, sending residents scrambling. Off the coastal community of Williamstown, a cluster of water spouts could be seen and residents of the area sounded the alarm. Sabrina Brown has the details.
Weather conditions started to deteriorate sometime after 9 Friday morning, and shortly before 10 o'clock, water spouts began forming offshore around the island. ZNS News was inundated with calls from residents expressing concern. Our news team visited the Williamstown community, and we were told that up to 7 water spouts were seen in that area.
At one point, the solar guy showed me a funnel cloud over the ocean. It turned out to be one. And after a few minutes, when that dissipated, then like 4 more formed. And as you can see, where the I think there was an oil tanker, there were 2 more behind that.
I came out and I was looking at it because from my house, it looked like it was right in the front of the basically front of the club and Daddy's house, and it was amazing. That's all I could say, because it was so huge, and the cloud was gray, dark gray. You had to be here to see it.
Chairman of Bahamas Air Sea Rescue Association Justin Snisky says Basra also received many calls of concern.
The concerns was it looked like it was approaching shore, and they wanted to make sure we got the call out and made sure that the residents were aware of what was going on for person's safety, obviously. As soon as that first call came in, I mean, we probably had about another 40 calls come in from different people throughout the island, from as far north as 8 Mile Rock, coming as far south down as Arlacaya. This system that we had today was about 3 to 4 miles offshore with the water spouts. We were very lucky that it didn't drift to the north as quickly before it broke up. Otherwise, there could have been a lot more damage.
Snisky is advising the public to always be vigilant, as these systems usually form without notice.
The skies right now are crystal clear coming up behind us, and that's how fast these storms can form. You know, especially in the summertime, you have the summertime squalls, and it can be clear skies 1 minute, and then you turn around and there's a big forming cloud, and then next thing you know, you will have water spouts form inside it.
He's sending this warning to the want-to-be storm chasers.
Please, when you see systems like this, stay away, don't run down there, because as quick as they can form is as quick as they can turn on you. So please take caution to it and just respect nature, let it take its course, and be safe. The boaters were going out there, taking people out there, trying to get closer pictures and all that, and we do not recommend that in any shape or form. You know, the systems are very dangerous. They can be very dangerous. They could easily spark lightning. You know, with the thunder, we had plenty of thunder this morning along with the system. And even a water spout. If a water spout comes over, it could easily flip your boat. It could pull you guys off the boat, toss you around, and easily end up in a fatality.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, the Met Department issued a severe weather warning this morning advising of the conditions. But as Italia Hall tells us, even Met officials were a bit surprised by the magnitude of the water spouts that surrounded Grand Bahama for most of the morning.
Most of the island was in a state of panic as several water spouts formed in different locations from as early as 9:45 a.m. Social media went wild with images of the various water spouts all along the coastline. Met Officer Kirk James calls it an unusual situation. He says these water spouts formed over a narrow portion of Grand Bahama due to the moisture from a pre-season storm north and southeast of the U.S. He says moist, unstable air around the Freeport area, along with a light flow, resulted in the formation of water spouts.
The water spout was so prominent, unbelievable. I actually was able to view it, but it was just offshore. Many of them were offshore over the water. As long as they remain over the water, they are water spouts. The first stage of it is actually funnel cloud. So the funnel cloud formed, that could be over land or water, and if it touched down the surface of the water, it's a water spout. The surface of the land, it's a tornado. So fortunately, I don't think we had any tornadoes, but none was reported to the weather office.
A weather advisory was initially issued by the Department of Meteorology at 9:45 a.m. and lasted until 1 o'clock p.m.
What was interesting about it, when it was about to conclude, someone else called again and said he saw something forming near Tino Beach. So he had to extend it a few hours. That lasted for maybe 30 minutes, and then it started to dissipate. So I would describe it, quite frankly, as a freak weather situation, because the weather forecast models in the morning did not show this activity, the intensity of this activity. So it was kind of a freak weather situation. And when the first one was issued at 9:45, and I issued that no thunderstorms are there, 20 minutes later, thunderstorms popped up all over the place. So that was pretty phenomenal, unusual.
He notes that while the weather system did not make landfall, it is important to note that waterspouts can also wreak havoc on the water as well.
Yeah, they could overturn small boats and, wreak havoc on the sea. So warnings would go out immediately once it's spotted or once it's anticipated. Like I said, it was a peculiar situation. The amount of moisture the model would have had, it certainly wouldn't, no one would have expected. NASA didn't expect it, I didn't expect weather this intensity. But fortunately, weather is a watched science, so we were able to issue the warnings right away.
And as far as advice to residents when such weather conditions develop,
too many people remain uninformed, and we live in a time where so many people are simply content to get their information from social media as opposed to listening to the radio stations and watching the television broadcast of the official notification centers. That's most important, because something came over social media that was totally incorrect, and I'm sure that was not the first time. So listen to the radio stations who's going to check the information and certify and validate it before they broadcast it to the public.
James calls it a good test run just ahead of the hurricane season. And as for what to expect this weekend, the forecast is calling for fair and mild conditions with the chance for isolated thunderstorms. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
And some of that video was courtesy of Video Magic Productions. Now tonight, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is confirming that the police department did not issue that public service announcement that made the rounds on social media today. The bogus weather warning created quite a stir and sent parents of students at the various schools in a state of panic. Police officials are adamant that the police department did not issue any such advisory. In the event of an emergency, such advisories would be issued by NEMA in connection with the Met Department. The Hawksbill Creek Agreement Review Committee wrapping up its public consultation sessions in West End last night. A meeting was held at the St. Mary Magdalene Parish Hall to solicit recommendations on the pending expiration of 2 tenets of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and to get feedback on ways to grow the economy. As Kimberly Mullings tells us, the primary concern centered around development of the settlement of West End.
Residents, business, and the landowners alike filled the parish hall in West End on Thursday. Recommendations and concerns coming from the audience were geared toward developing the settlement of West End. Dennis Martin, West Grand Bahama native, found it disappointing that no committee member was from West End, given the historical relevance of the settlement to the island. He disagreed with the Hawksbill Creek Agreement controlling Freeport.
The quasi or the self-governance of Freeport, the authority in the port, to be taken away, period. Because you can't be the judge and the jury too. You can't be the investor and also the license, the person who issued the license and also the person who regulates. So, simple. The port, fine. Authority, gone.
Artist Neely, a businessman in West Grand Bahama, agrees. He recalls the settlement in its heydays some 40 years ago.
Before Freeport, West End was a strong, active, vibrant community. And when the government gave Freeport their concessions, they never once considered it's going to have an effect in West End and 8 Mile Rock and Pinders Point. So we should provide some institutions in those areas to allow the business people in those communities to be able to operate in Freeport. It was never considered.
Other ideas included constructing an administration building, adequate signage, and public beach availability for residents and visitors alike, as well as infrastructure development for sidewalks, better roads, and even a highway, according to attendee Derek Sands.
Can anything be done with regards to a highway to be rerouted from Hebron Town to West End to make it a little safer for those people who are now building in Holmes Rock, 8 Mile Rock, Hebron Town? What has happened is you find the entrances to homes are from the highway, and a lot of people reverse onto the highway. in order to exit from their various entrances.
Recommendations included spurring economic growth with the construction of an airport in Harbor in West Grand Bahama. Resident Kingsley Smith Jr. supports the idea.
Something like again what they proposed to do would only add to what needs to be done in West End. West End itself should be a Golden Haven, and that can be done by locals. We just need funding, and that is my take on how we could bring back West End tomorrow.
The government-appointed Hawksbill Creek Agreement Review Committee's chairman, Dr. Marcus Bethel, was in attendance, along with other committee members, Grand Bahama Chamber President Kevin D. Seymour, Attorney Cassietta McIntosh, and former Minister Maurice Moore. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
Well, now that the review committee has gathered recommendations from the public, they will prepare a comprehensive report to be presented to the government within the next 2 weeks. The World Customs Organization IT Conference and Exhibition closing out today at the Grand Lucine Resort. The three-day parley, which opened on Wednesday with a keynote address by Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, attracted hundreds of delegates from over 75 member countries. The Minister of State for Finance, Michael Halkitis, was the featured speaker during the closing session.
I want to thank the World Customs Organization for choosing the Bahamas and for choosing Grand Bahama in particular for this conference. We trust that our facilities met the standard that you are used to, and that these facilities facilitated the conference and the business of your conference and provided an environment conducive to the work, and as well gave you an opportunity to enjoy some of our hospitality and to recreate yourselves.
Now, Minister Halkitis believes the international conclave was productive.
The Prime Minister, in his opening remarks, laid out the importance of customs administrations around the world, and in the Bahamas as well, inclusive of border protection, revenue protection, and trade facilitation. And it is up to me, as we close this conference, to reiterate the commitment of this government in supporting our Customs Department and, by extension, supporting the work of the World Customs Organization in performing its mission in these various areas. The Prime Minister as well indicated the efforts of the Bahamas Customs Department through its modernization program to improve our ability to meet the mission of the Bahamas Customs and Excise Department. And finally, as you leave here, there is a Bahamian song.
Stay with us, the Bahamas Tonight. The Northern Edition continues right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Today, May 8th, is World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. On this day, member countries mark the birthday of the founder of the International Red Cross movement, Henry Dunant. The Bahamas Red Cross is the 123rd member of the International Red Cross. The Grand Bahama branch was formed back in 1975. Now, on this World Red Cross Day, the local branch took time out to present special packages to the persons who rely on their services on a daily basis. Administrator Stephanie Barr.
In honor of his birthday here at the Grand Bahama Center, we have done gift cups to give to our recipients. We feed 50 persons every day, and we just want to say thanks for seeing Mr. Dunant's vision and his humanitarian spirit that he's left, the legacy he has left behind for us to follow. So we just want to give back and say thank you to them for seeing the vision and sharing it with us, as we go through this length and breadth of Grand Bahama.
Administrator Barr says on this World Red Cross Day, the local organization remains committed to improving the lives of the most vulnerable by mobilizing the power of humanity, and notes that in order to continue this mission, the support of the greater community is always needed.
The message I'd like to send that those donors and those who would like to become donors to go ahead and come on and give us a call here. We're on Jobson Avenue, 352-7163. Continue to support us as we do this great work here, this great humanitarian work. As our founder, he was the great humanitarian of the world. And, keep us in your prayers as we go through and try to do the work here on Grand Bahama. helping and supporting, doing our humanitarian work here.
This coming Sunday is Mother's Day, but for a group of women at a local resort, Mother's Day came a bit early. Sabrina Brown has the details.
It was a celebration of mothers at the Grand Lucayan Resort Thursday morning. The Commonwealth Union of Hotel Services and Allied Workers joined forces with management of the island's premier hotel property to pay tribute to scores of women who work hard daily to balance professional life with motherhood. They were presented with fruits, flowers, and plaques. President of the Commonwealth Union, Michelle Dorset, says the women are all deserving of the accolades and more.
It is with great pleasure that the Commonwealth Union Hotel Services and Allied Workers pause to honor a special group of mothers, which is actually workers of the Grand Lucayan. It was very historical, especially with me inviting the General Manager, Mr. Ben Davis, who always supported the movement by me actually going and doing this thing for our workers.
General Manager of Grand Lucayan, Ben Davis, also paid tribute to the hardworking mothers.
I like to really take the time to recognize them, because I know that it's not easy out there and they have to make a lot of sacrifices to be here on time on a daily basis.
Alice McGregor and Emmeline Russell are excited about this special honor.
I was speechless. History was made again in this union. It has never been done before. I'm so appreciative of this award today, and I was very surprised. Everyone walked out with a smile on their face and something in their hand, and it was well organized and well done by our union. We are so together in this union.
It was a time where love was shared amongst one another, and it was a great blast. Mothers are very special.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, the Pine Ridge Urban Renewal Team, not to be left out, today members of Urban Renewal Team held a special luncheon to honor a group of mothers from the Pine Ridge constituency. As Italia Hall tells us, it was a great occasion for all the honorees.
The mothers of the Pine Ridge community being treated to a pre-Mother's Day luncheon by the staff of the Pine Ridge Urban Renewal Program. A number of seniors turned out as they were celebrated for the outstanding role they play in the lives of their children, family, and friends. Organizer Michelle Rackley says there is really no love like a mother's love, and they are to be appreciated.
I am so honored today when I look around me and some of you women who played a part in my life. You are sitting here today, and I'm just happy that we can now extend ourselves to you.
Guest speaker of the event was Pastor Judy Bethel.
We are there to complete our husbands. We are there to help the person that God has placed in our lives. And we are strong. When that man can't think, we know how to think.
She adds that women are the backbone of men.
But God has called us to help them. That's why the Bible says we are help meet. We are there to help them because they need the help. Man, you need us. And that's why the Bible said a man who finds a wife, man, you find a good thing.
The program concluded with the precious pearls being given a flat screen television. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
And now to our nightly feature, Ask the Doctor.
I'm Dr. Monique Pratt. Lyndon from 8 Mile Rock inquires, I get a tingling and crawling sensation in my legs at night that keeps me awake. Why is this happening, and how can I make it stop? Thanks for your great question, Lyndon, and losing sleep must be very frustrating for you. What you are describing sounds like restless leg syndrome. This is an uncontrollable urge to move your legs, usually due to leg discomfort or that crawling feeling that you mentioned. The sensations, which generally occur within the legs on both sides of the body rather than on the skin, are described as crawling, creeping, pulling, throbbing, aching, or itching. It typically happens in the evenings or nights while sitting or lying down. Moving eases the unpleasant feeling. It seems to run in families, and in women, it can also appear for the first time during the last trimester of pregnancy, or if restless leg syndrome is already present prior to becoming pregnant, pregnancy itself or hormonal changes can make it worse. If you have restless leg syndrome associated with another medical condition like nerve damage or iron deficiency, treating those conditions may give you some relief from the symptoms. But if it is not associated with an underlying medical problem, then your doctor may begin treatment with medications that will help lessen your symptoms and allow you to rest and sleep. Remember, it's important to follow up with your physician if you have any concerns about your health. After all, your health is in your hands. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and this has been Ask the Doctor.
Stay with us. We have a check on sports when we return. Topping sports, the girls on the soccer pitch in the Arthur Paris Marinab High School Soccer League. Tabernacle Junior girls closed out Bishop Michael Eldon 4-0. The BMES Senior girls put away Tabernacle 3-0. The St. George's Lady Jaguars and the Mary Star Crusaders played to a 1-1 draw. Sunland defeating Lucine International 5-0. And the Grand Bahama Down Syndrome Association getting ready to hit the streets tomorrow morning for the annual Buddy Walk. Wendy Hanna is expecting good support from the public. Part proceeds will go to the Special Olympics.
Inviting the entire community of Grand Bahama to come out at 7 a.m. on Saturday. We'll be walking from the Grand Bahama Port Authority parking lot to the courthouse circle and back, or we have a longer route which is to the airport circle and back. This is the 4th year that we'll be holding this event, and it's always a fun time. It's always an enjoyable walk. Hopefully we have a beautiful morning as we always have, and we anticipate having a great crowd out there. Like we said, it's a $10 registration fee, and you get a t-shirt with that registration.
The Nemo Athletics Track Club Spring Invitational is all systems go for Saturday, May 9th at the Grand Bahama Sports Complex. The age division under 7, 9, 13, 15, 17, 20, and the open division, female and males. The track meet starts at 9 a.m. with the 100-meter hurdles, the 110 high hurdles, the 100 meters, 400, 1200, 1500, the 200 meters, 800 meters, and the 4x200 meters events on the schedule. Now, the sport of sailing is on the rise on Grand Bahama with a youth foundation. The West End Junior Sailing Regatta has set the tone for a number of events this summer.
West End is usually a quiet settlement. Usually, the Junior Regatta was one of the events that woke up the settlement. The Grand Bahama Sailing Club and the West End Eco Sailing Camp also took full command of the water. Then again, some of the kids had plans of their own. What about a little swim? The program in West End, Keith Cooper says he's ecstatic with the support. The intent is to expand this program and garnish the support island-wide.
We want them to get into sailing as an adult, obviously. We want them to continue into what we hope to create maybe an adult regatta one day out here. And so hopefully these children will be inspired on their own to say, you know, let's also have the junior regatta, but let's also have a much bigger Bahamian regatta, similar to what we have in the other family islands. So that's what I'm hoping these children will take away from this one day.
The Minister of Tourism was a major sponsor of the Junior Regatta in West End. Manager responsible for sports tourism, Nuvolari Chartersing, says the possibilities for Grand Bahama is exciting and the juniors have set the tone for what is to come.
We look forward to partnering with other people in terms of sports to get a greater variety and also a higher level of sports and each discipline back to Grand Bahama. And we're going to be reaching out to Abaco, Bimini, and also to South Florida. It's such a close market to us. We want to reach out there and get some more competition, and also that way we get more people coming to the island.
Now, every dog day is a good day in the Bahamas. The plans for later this summer is the Northern Bahamas Junior Sailing Regatta set for West End. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
And that's a check on sports.